of excellence.
Welcome back. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, the markets are indicating we're likely to start off in the green, but it's going to be a busy day of trade, and then we'll hear from the Fed later tonight. To help us out with some analysis on stocks, though, Deven Choksey of DRChoksey joins us on the show. Hi, Deven. Good morning. Thanks so much for joining in. Well, we already discussed PI industry, so I wanted to ask you another big move on the final hour of trade yesterday. That was SpiceJet. You know, they've got that much-needed oxygen, so to call it. They've got funds that are coming in there, but it's going to be a massive dilution, and a whole host of names have come in there. What's your view on SpiceJet at around this 55 to around 60 rupees?
And Nigel, good morning. Well, I think much needed capital as far as this business is concerned, in this company in particular. I guess I think they are getting a little luckier to get this particular capital, I suppose. On one side, there is a huge demand scenario which is there already, and at the same time, it is going to expand. Entire aviation business is becoming, and passenger aviation business is becoming more capital intensive. At least I think in next 5-10 years, I think we are likely to see significant amount of capital infusion in the business from practically all the players, given the size of the market which they are catering to. In my viewpoint, I think the company will probably have a relatively better time as far as I think the outlook is concerned, given this money in the balance sheet. But at the same time, as I said, I think for investors, I think they need to keep balance sheet ready, the cash ready for the subsequent round of investment also into this company, which is likely to be a continuous process as I see it. Currently, I think whatever is happening is, I think, repairing the existing balance sheet, infusing funds for taking a further amount of expansion. But at the same time, I think additional amount of capital would be required, not only for SpiceJet, but I think for the rest of the players also in the industry, given the size of market that they're catering to. So I would say that from an investment perspective, the company which is asking for more capital frequently, every now and then, we would probably concentrate on those companies which generate cash and have a free cash flow and give it back to investors. We'll stay focused on those businesses and those companies in our investment portfolio.
All right, Deven, hi, good morning, and thanks for being with us. On PI Industries, what are your thoughts? Would you buy now? Would you be cautious?
Yes, Sonia, good morning. Of course, I think this company remains, I think, absolutely very convincing company from a point of view of the business and the technology on which I think they have been successfully developing the products in the API formats. I guess I think this company probably had to face this particular situation which they are currently into. A single product dependency always invites some amount of competition eventually. But the way in which I see this business, I think they have sufficient amount of ability to meet the challenges. The margins will probably remain under somewhat pressure, but they do have the ability to meet the challenges, particularly in form of, I think, bring down the cost of production for them and protecting the margins to a certain extent from the competition, which is now emerging on this particular front. At the same time, the different variety of portfolios that they are basically nurturing and systematically bringing down the risk on one single product, I think, has been a continuous process. The other portfolio of products, I think, are also likely to contribute in a given period of time. So maybe one can argue that in the near future, because of the fairly good valued stock at this point of time, you might not see an upside immediately. But maybe I think the downside would be largely limited to, I think, the exit of some of the existing players. But otherwise, on the merit front, I think I don't see too much of a downside as far as I think the business is concerned.
Deven, two names from yesterday. Good morning. One is IRDA. This is incredible, right? Low last month was November was 50. It's 100 yesterday. So huge volumes. We know the story. But it's now trading at 3 times book a year forward. And the other one is J&K Bank, which we just want to get your thoughts on. Again, you know, it's done. The stock's done well, but if things are really going to pan out the way, you know, they can really penetrate that market and open up new avenues. I mean, it could do very well. So your thoughts on both these names, IRDA from here, what would you advise investors to do, and J&K Bank?
Yes, Prashant. Good morning. Well, as far as I think the IRDA is concerned, there is nothing which has changed between the listing time and today. The fundamentals have remained as strong as they were before at the time of listing. And probably I think the prospects remain equally strong, given the kind of concentration which they are having into the renewable space, on the lending book side. So the growth is in the business is going to continue. Now, I think what has changed between the listing and today, I think is important part is most of the funds basically are wanting to have the new paper in their portfolio. And that's the reason for which I think you are finding many of the newly listed stocks are remaining in demand, because I think there is requirement to have these stocks in the portfolio. The other argument to this existing list of companies which are listed in the marketplace, many of the funds I think have got most of the exposure limits completely exhausted. In fact, I think when you study the equity portfolios of most of the mutual funds, somewhere around between 65 to 75% of the portfolio in most of the stocks, particularly I think either in Nifty 50 or Nifty 500, if you look at it, most of the stocks I think are remaining common in a given fund vehicle, I think, which they are basically operating. As a result of which, there is a compulsion to add new stocks into the portfolio. Also because of the fact that the new funds are getting into the system. Monthly SIPs have touched 17,000 and is likely to cross 25,000 crore in a near future from now. So from that perspective, if you look at it, I believe that I think these are the stories which are propelling the stock price, it's getting a tailwind in the stock price. Otherwise, the fundamentals remain as promising as they were before. Maybe the valuations have scaled up to a fair value at this point of time.